Taming the Demon by Amilevskira. Chapter 33. To the Light of a Dream. Training recommended early the next morning with running. Karita had been separated for his own training, so Hiruma drove them at an even faster pace than usual. It went pretty much as expected, and every now and then Hiruma would look over and see demon's eyes shining out of Sena's face. It usually happened when someone mentioned Gao. At first, it made Hiruma a little nervous. If Demon decided to take out his frustration on some random passerby, he, and by extension the team, could get in a lot of trouble. Oddly enough, it was Rikyu that assuaged his fears. No, not directly, idiots. The blonde running back had swung by to drop off a video recording of the Hakushu/Seibu match. He also dropped a lecture on whatever the fuck it was on Sena and Mata because he just couldn't bloody help himself. Demon did nothing. He didn't even wake up. Hiruma then understood that Demon was purposefully storing up all his rage to be unleashed on Hakushu. Hakushu and no one else. It was relieving in a way. It also reaffirmed his decision regarding changing players when Gao inevitably took him out. He had hoped to do this quietly. Hand off the forms to Anazaki at her locker, get to practice, nobody notices anything out of the ordinary. He didn't plan for Suzuna. She technically isn't even a Damon student. Where the heck did she pop out from? But whatever. It was mildly amusing to listen to Sena try and persuade the monkey and Brother Fishlips that, no, that cannot possibly be a love letter. It was decidedly not amusing when the manager tore up the envelope without even opening it and declaring that now Hiruma had no choice but to not get hurt, as if he could say, whoops, sorry, Go, we don't have a backup plan, so you can't tackle me. She walked off with tears in her eyes. Hiruma could hear Demon ordering the boys out to practice. They drove themselves even harder than usual, and a small part of Hiruma that he didn't like to admit to having was both ecstatically grateful and abjectly terrified that they would all go to such lengths to protect him. Game day arrived. Just as everyone started wondering if Karita was going to show, the fat ass appeared with Banba at his back. There was a moment where the fresh scars and determined face made him look really cold, but in true Karita fashion, it wasn't long before he burst into tears from being so lonely trained by himself. Hiruma was glad he packed the bubble wrap. It had been incredibly annoying having to fork out for Musashi's new truck after last time. While the kids were in awe at Karita's ability to pop every single bubble and get all mushy over the TV they had all signed months ago, did the fat ass really steal that from the school to reminisce? Hiruma decided to test his mental strength. After all, it was impossible to increase the lineman's physical strength in only 1 week. Thank you, Banma already knew that. So we piled the pressure on Karita's shoulders and was incredibly pleased when, instead of running out the wide in a box again, the large teen stood up straight and declared that he would protect everybody. Just in time for Gao's declaration of war. Even though he confessed to be using enough strength to break a normal man's wrist in his grip on Karita's arm, Gao didn't seem at all interested in causing any trouble. In fact, he seemed to be looking forward even more to the match. He probably would have stuck around if the weird third year from the Seibu match didn't start running his mouth about weak opponents and how easily they defeated Banba. Say what you would about Gao, but he doesn't tolerate anything less than the utmost respect for his rivals. Maruko managed to convince Gao to deliver his punishment back on the bus so as to avoid a scene, but he didn't much seem to care that the third year had just thrown his athletic career away. The quarterback's casual disregard for his own teammates' well-being set Hiruma's teeth on edge. It was different from the way it was violent with the Devil Bats. Hiruma didn't give them anything more than what they could take. Well, the blonde wouldn't let it shake him one way or the other. Not even when Maruko approached Damon's bench with a crate full of cola as an apology for the rude things Tengu-senpai said. The brothers immediately thought it was poisoned. Hiruma knew it wasn't on the grounds that such an underhanded trick would be too easily traced back to Maruko. He took a cola himself and gave 3 to Separus. It was amusing that Maruko and the kids seemed to think that trading slots way back when the tournament lottery was still happening would have made any difference. Damon would have defeated Taiyo and Seibu, and Gao would have broken Agon and Takami, and the final match would still be Damon versus Hakushu. Hiruma's imagination superimposed Takami on Shien's broken form, and he had to struggle to maintain the grin on his face. He and Maruko moved onto the field for the coin toss. Like with Ojo, there was really no point to the coin toss other than formality. Maruko would take defense so that Gao could crush Hiruma as soon as possible, and Hiruma would choose offense because really, what else would he choose? The match began with a plan that put such a constipated look on Banba's face. It started with the lonely center strategy. Gao wants a one-on-one with Karita? That's exactly what he's gonna get. The blonde quarterback could pick out Takami's voice in the stands, muttering about how, of course, Hiruma would take the exact opposite approach to Gao than anybody else. Hiruma wasn't as fast as Shien to throw, so he couldn't leave himself completely defenseless, but he could come pretty damn close. Karita was now literally the only double bet in any position to stop Gao. Gao was suitably impressed and wouldn't stop running his mouth until Hiruma interrupted so they could start the match already. Karita was immediately toppled, but he stood back up, so it was fine. The first round went to Karita and Damon. Hiruma had enough time to pitch a long pass that was perfect for Manta, and Sena bolted down the field to back him up. The combo play was based off Shin and Sakuraba's Sagittarius and scored them a touchdown. Gao approached Karita during Damon's typical celebration. Were the linemen fighting? Why are the linemen fighting? He admitted that Karita was certainly stronger than he had anticipated, and yet there was no way Karita was going to win today. He was not smug when he said this. He was horribly disappointed. The large first year wouldn't explain in words what the difference between them was, instead agreeing to show him during the following plays. It was Hakushu's offense, and Hiruma already knew what they were going to do. As predicted, the dinosaurs went with the north-south strategy. Gao shoved open a hole in the line, Maruko ran through it and earned first down after first down until finally it was a touchdown. As an offensive lineman, Karita would only have to hold Gao off until Hiruma threw the ball. As a defensive lineman, Karita had to stop Gao entirely, which is a very different task. A task that he has up to this point been incapable of performing. Hakushu went for the 2-point conversion rather than the try-for-point kick, again, which Hiruma anticipated. That meant where Damon earned 7 points with a touchdown and a kick, Hakushu earned 8 points with a touchdown and a conversion. Maruko seemed to expect that this information would shake them up a little, but he forgot. Damon had gone almost the entire fall tournament without a reliable kicker, and as such was well used to this kind of disadvantage. The kids didn't even blink, because they knew that the only thing to do was to simply score more touchdowns than Hakushu. Reusing earlier strategies brought Damon within sight of Hakushu's end zone, but that was when an enigma appeared on the field. The only thing Hiruma knew about Kisaragi Hiromi was that he had a weak body and average speed and jumping power. However, as Yukimitsu pointed out, there must have been a reason that was the left arm to Go's right arm. Mata lined up against this kitty player and immediately voiced a gut feeling that there was more to this guy than was visible. Kisaragi politely introduced himself in response. Hiruma was pretty sure the little back and forth Kisaragi and Maruko had was specifically designed to confuse Manta and throw him off balance, but Manta knew how to shut down his own brain and just run full tilt. It came with a rather annoying side effect of him screaming the plan at the top of his lungs. Manta was faster than Kisaragi, so it looked like everything would be fine at first. However, just as Manta closed his hands around the ball to score a touchdown, the bony dinosaur's hidden talent made itself known. They called it the Terra Claw. Kisaragi himself said it best. I may not be able to reach the height of the pass, but the height of the arm that's catching it, I can reach that. The blonde cornerback's skinny arms were perfect for winding around Manta's own arm and snapping the ball out of his hands before they hit the ground. It was quite obvious that Kisaragi intended to mark Manta from now on. Good. Manta drew away Kisaragi. Kurita was holding go, and finally some of the other Hakushu idiots took the bait and rushed Hiruma, freeing up Sena to accept a pass. He got it and bolted. All was good until he got close to the end zone. There he seemed to get nervous, like he could sense an impending cliff. He wound his way around Maruko, who was playing safety, and just as he seemed to score, he turned around to reveal empty hands. And Maruko was running the opposite direction. It wasn't until the ref called a touchdown for Hakushu that everything made sense. Maruko had stripped Sena of the ball while Sena was spinning around him. His team had nicknamed the move the screw bite. That was going to be annoying. What was even more annoying was the way everyone on the Hakushu bench seemed to think this was already their victory. Well, the best way to figure out a countermeasure to the screw bite was to get a closer look at it. He put Yukimitsu onto the field and sent him along with the monkey, the idiot, and the shrimp to guard Maruko, and then made some laughable comments about 4 targets making for a pass with quadruple the strength. His bluff sent a fair number of Hakushu players running to back up Marco, leaving a nice open space for him to run off with the ball himself. Maruko saw right through him. Hiruma baited Maruko into using his screw bite and managed to stick his foot out of bounds right before the ball got stolen, earning Damon 4 yards. Maruko was startled, but praised the blonde on his tactics. Hiruma laughed and explained that he really didn't care to beat Maruko one-on-one. His eyes were on the Christmas bowl. The blonde started mixing up the passes. If they couldn't get past Maruko, fine. Just hit the dirt before he takes the ball. Kisaragi won't let them catch a long pass, no problem. Catch a short one. They started inching forward that way, 4 or 5 yards at a time. Sena pointed out a nasty atmosphere surrounding the Hakushu bench. That was Hiruma's first clue that his time was up. It started with Kisaragi coming to blitz him. He dodged backward and made eye contact with Sena. The shrimp read his mind and moved into position to receive the ball. Except Kisaragi wasn't blitzing him anymore. The skinny player had swerved into Kurita. He didn't stand a chance, obviously, but he distracted the lineman just enough that Go could knock him over and move on to Hiruma. At first, Hiruma thought, he can't tackle me until Kisaragi hits the ground. Then he caught a glance of Tengu-senpai on the Hakushu bench and remembered, Go doesn't give a flying fuck about his teammates. Then the impact hit. Where was he again? That's Go there. Must have been hit. Can't feel anything. It's fine if the left arm is broken, but teammates are gathering around. They need to calm down. Calm down! Can't speak. Crap. Oh, here comes the pain. Please, not the right arm. It's the right arm. All at once, the noise, the pain, the everything hit Hiruma's senses again, and underneath Kurita's wailing, he could hear a small voice. Yuichi? He turned to look for that voice, tell it that he'd be fine. Instead, his eyes fell on the football abandoned on the field. From there, his vision went black. Oh, crap, this really hurts.